We organize a set of such roundtables in different countries as an international project and the support of the fund of President grants. We arrived to here from Bishkek. We had the same roundtable held in Kyrgyzstan. Tomorrow we go to Astana, and we are going to discuss the issues of bilateral relations. We appreciate very well that besides the state authorities, the people's diplomacy plays important role, and also non-governmental institutions, civil society play important role in strengthening the relations between the countries. And today we are going to listen to our Uzbek colleagues, our Russian colleagues, representatives of various regions who will tell us about projects and programs they implement in between of our countries and what are the future prospects. And I sincerely welcome you and wish you productive work. Thank you very much. Dear friends, the next speaker will address remotely online Deputy Chairman of the Council of Russian Federation, Mr. Kosachev. Dear friends, your roundtable is dedicated to the role and missions of the people's diplomacy in relations between of our states. I would like to thank the organizers of this event from the Assembly of the Nations of Russia, and also for their efforts in bringing up the people's diplomacy and creating the real foundation for the relationships of our countries. So we call our relations as international. However, without live dialogue between simple people, culture and business communities and academia cycles, the rest is just the policy and economics. It's easier for us to communicate because we've never stopped our communication. We have rich experience and traditions. But it doesn't mean that all this will evolve by itself or itself without any efforts. The people's diplomacy is the active work, enthusiasm, movements which devote very sincere appreciation for their work. I wish all the members of the round table interested in communication, good ideas, in support of live communication between the civil society organizations. I wish you peace and well-being for our nations. Good luck. Thank you. Indeed, today we are going to discuss about people's diplomacy, about its basics, about its priorities in those areas which we face today. And primarily, I would like to mention about the international relations, but international means nations. Now I would like to give the floor to the Council of Counselor of the Assembly of Nations of Russia, Mr. Muhamedov, please. Good afternoon. I wish you peace and be blessed by God. Dear participants, guests of the International Trade Fair in Aprom, Central Asia, dear participants, dear organizers, the role of the people's diplomacy in development of Russian-Uzbek relationships is tremendous. And on behalf of the state budget organization, the House of Nations of Russia, I would like to express our appreciation for being invited to this event. We continue a successful tradition of cooperation, and once again we join discussion of the relevant issues of people's diplomacy. And as the organizers of this roundtable correctly mentioned, when we use the language of the people's diplomacy, it's easier to build up the bridges of mutual understanding, built up and founded on deep roots of our traditions. On the background of rapidly changing situations, we need unification of all the civil society, public agencies from our friendly countries and brother nations having common history, and joint development of our agendas, discussion of relevant issues, identification of priority areas will enable us to work more efficiently to address the current tasks and get to the desired targets. Our path to joint activity will be continued on the principles of our mutual trust and good neighborhood, and also will make their input into harmonious development of our countries. It's symbolical that this roundtable devoted to people's nation is being organized in the most beautiful city, in the most prosperous country of the Central Asian region, where good, hospitable, tactile, and very, very polite people live. Therefore, the people's diplomacy this is something that is transferred to children through education, through tradition, but it is also in genes of Uzbek people. I was born in Uzbek Soviet Union Republic. I grew up and got very good education in Uzbekistan. Coming back to the topic of our roundtable, I would say that many of you know the saying of Otto von Bismarck. When we lose any proofs, any grounds, then arms start speaking. But when diplomacy is silent, as Mr. Lavrov said, arms start speaking. And therefore, public and people's diplomacy is of paramount importance when we have conflict situations, which could be seized by the efforts of people's diplomacy, which uses various forms and methods without any international rules, commitments, help to seize and help to improve the situation. The British poet said, 1 hour with great and heroic acts is more than 100 centuries of silence. And therefore, I believe that today is the time for people's diplomacy. I live and work in the big and multinational country where we have 193 nationalities. We speak 277 national languages and dialects. Every person has the right to be authentic. We learn about cultural diversity of the whole world, and we can cite local poets and artists, and we can generate better ideas. And I wish you all the prospects and success. Thank you very much for your attention.
Dear friends, now let me give the floor to the head of the Russian cooperation in Uzbekistan, the representative office, the person who has proved by his experience and his hard work, who proved what is the people's democracy in action.
Спасибо. Всегда опасаюсь, когда Равшан Ринатович представляет, он так это делает образно.
Thank you very much. Every time when Mr. Ravshan represents me and announces my speech, I'm a bit shy because I get too many positive reviews from him. So let me introduce myself and greet all the participants here. I'm very grateful to the participants of this event, as well as the Uzbek side party for inviting us, for organizing it, and for constant work. And together with Uzbekistan and our colleagues in Russia, we have the Assembly of Eurasian People. I don't want to speak again about the cooperation of Uzbekistan and Russia and the assembly and etc. Mr. Mironov will tell about it. We have the Tatar Cultural Center, Bashkiria Cultural Sector, Center of People's Democracy, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We meet constantly on different conferences, roundtables, seminars, and all these events that happen on a regular basis, they are needed for matching the clocks, for checking the clocks that we're on the same time and on the same pathway. We have the questions, the issues of mutual interaction, and definitely people's diplomacy is very important. It's all about the interaction, and right now we have the union and the event on the cultural exchanges. The Minister of Innovations have visited our exhibition today. More than 14 companies are represented on the booth of Innoprom today from my organization. We have different technological equipment that could be represented and provided by the Russian companies, as well as, for example, we can provide a lot of school, preschool, and higher institution equipment. All of the goods those are represented. They have high value, and actually a lot of goods have drawn the attention of the public servants and etc. The system of the people's diplomacy is very important, and as the practice shows, when we are represented in the country, the practice will be done even more intensively, because if the branch of our organization will be open in other regions of Uzbekistan, it will prove the necessity, the demand for our goods, for the demand of the cooperation and partnership. And when the representatives of the Russian institutions come to Uzbekistan to represent the institutions, then we can say that we can speak about the common values. For example, we can speak about Russian language, we can speak about any cultures, and during this interaction you should always remember that you represent your country, your diplomacy, your cultural values. And if you are serving as a representative, definitely you will be lobbying your country. Actually, we already have 14 branches in Tashkent on the basis or foundation of the higher institutions of Uzbekistan. I'm very happy that this system of education is being well set, and this is our future. It's our common future. And if the seniors will talk about this history of Uzbekistan and etc. For the last 150-200 years, then for the youth, Russia unfortunately represents some kind of uncertainty and unexplored area, because it's very vast and no one knows what's happening on the other end of the country. That's why we need the cooperation, we need to talk, we need to discuss. And when our colleagues visit Uzbekistan or Uzbek colleagues visit Moscow, we need this cooperation by conversation. And in Russia, there are a lot of beautiful cities. Everyone knows about beautiful cities of Uzbekistan, but not many people know about beautiful cities of Russia that can be visited and those can be enjoyed, such as Sverdlovsk, Kazan, not only Moscow and Petersburg are beautiful, Omsk, and etc. So these trade fair is very massive, and every year it's being conducted and held, and it's getting bigger and bigger and more comprehensive. We can see a lot of connections that are happening between the participants. You're welcome to come to taste our Russian pelmenis or dumplings, and there are a lot of cafes and restaurants that offer Russian cuisine in Tashkent. But despite of that, if you want to try real Siberian or real Russian dumplings, welcome to Russia. And I think that we should preserve all these traditional goodies, traditions, goods, and products of our countries. Let me allow to wish you fruitful cooperation, and let's not only cooperate in the format of a panel, but let's also interact face to face. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mikhail, for your participation, for your speech. Definitely your work on the territory of this country is not only the formal work, but it goes much beyond formal work. I would like to say that today our international roundtable is being conducted by the Association of International Association with the support of the People's Diplomacy Association and Russian Chamber of Commerce and the Agency for Interregional Cooperation, the Assembly of the Central Asian People, and today, unfortunately,
so the head of the Center for People's Diplomacy of SCO in Uzbekistan was called for training, and he couldn't participate in person, but he sent his video address, and if he manages to return back earlier, he of course will join us. I invite the head of the Center for People's Diplomacy of SCO in Uzbekistan, Mr. Sabirov. Dear Svetlana Konstantinovna, dear participants, dear friends, first of all, I would like to join the words of welcome to the participants of today's event and express our sincere appreciation to our guests who visit Uzbekistan these days. Welcome. And this event is a good platform for unification of our joint efforts in development and designing new models of Eurasian social and humanitarian partnership. SCO development strategy until 2025 says that the members are polyethnical multinational societies interested in providing internal interethnical interreligious coexistence on the single platform. According to our deep belief, only having known the rich history, rich traditions and customs, and legacy of our countries, we could build up mutual trust. We cannot move on without this. And also, we need to educate our young generation in the spirit of mutual respect and contacts between youth organizations, women's organizations, various creative agencies and organizations help to generate new ideas for our common work in the sphere of science and culture, sports and tourism, development of relations between the brotherhood cities, etc. To achieve this, we believe the people's diplomacy could play an important important role. And thanks to the instruments of the people's diplomacy, we establish multinational dialogue, which has been strengthened and also provides good opportunities for strengthening regional security, religious tolerance, and maintaining the national values at the same time. For ages, the interrelations of people with different cultures were the foundation for development of different countries, and we need to learn how to accept each other as we are, regardless our nationality, religion, beliefs, and traditions. The Eurasian continent, like the rest of the planet, needs new mechanisms for building up the joint future based on humanitarian values, equality, and mutual trust. According to our deep belief, Eurasian cooperation cannot move on and cannot be implemented only by the state authorities. The greatest role should be played by people themselves, and with their active participation, represented by the community leaders with high social status who are better informed about the opinions of other people. I should mention here that last year we implemented a very unique project, the Leader of Public Diplomacy at PERM, Open Forum of Friendship of Nations and National prospects. They demonstrated their leadership qualities, and 18 Russian and 12 foreign participants were in the finale, and they all proposed their new projects for strengthening international links and connectivity. They represented 23 countries and 24 regions of Russia. By the end of the 3 days, we united the participants in one group for joint development of initiatives interested for many parties for promotion of people's diplomacy ideas, strengthening of peace and trust between the people, regions, and the countries. So the finalists from Russia, Georgia, Armenia, Georgia proposed establishing the International Center for People's Diplomacy with the motto which is "Let's the world be full of friendship," literally. So they will study the role of people's diplomacy, promote its importance, establish peace and stability, and also build up the mutual dialogue between the countries. Taking this opportunity, I would like to express the great appreciation to the organizers of this roundtable and also wish everyone all successes. Thank you very much. So Kabil John and all the staff of the Center for People's Diplomacy in Uzbekistan, they serve like the models of new people's diplomats because they work very actively and their activity cannot be overestimated, and we believe that they work not only in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization space but also cover the greatest area like Eurasian continent, going beyond the list of countries members of SCO. Thank you very much for being the co-organizer of this roundtable and for being a part of this great process. Dear friends, the next floor is given to co-chairman of the Council for Assembly of the Nations of Russia, chairperson of the Public Commission of the Russian Federation for International Relations, member of their council under the president of Russian Federation, Mr. Zorin. Dear colleagues, first of all, let me thank the organizers of today's discussion, the Assembly of Nations of Russia, and also our distinguished Uzbek partners in part of the Assembly of Nations of Uzbekistan, the Assembly of Relationships with other countries under the Cabinet of Ministers, and in person Mr. Kurbanov Rustam, for their support in organizing such expert meeting. I particularly happy being authorized by the Assembly of Nations of Russian Federation and the Chamber under the President of Russia to wish you productive discussions. We have very relevant agenda today when we discuss our promotion and further development of people's diplomacy through the modern mechanisms of humanitarian research and education and business cooperation. And also we discuss the role of people's diplomacy in development of friendship between Uzbekistan and Russia. And undoubtedly, we need to strengthen the contacts of the representatives of our peoples, our diplomacy and the population of our countries at the geopolitical realities when we have as a priority the issues of further development of Russian-Uzbek relationships based on strategic partnership and cooperation in various spheres and sectors. One of the projects in the sphere of people's diplomacy is the international contest, the leader for people's diplomacy, organized by the organization of Assembly of Nations of Russia. The objective of this contest is to select and identify people, talented, the leaders who could bring up the ideas of international friendship, religion tolerance, and mutual development. As a result, since 2022, the project is implemented under the support of the Russian Fund of Presidential Grants. The fund has already some success stories. The participants came from 34 regions of Russia to participate in the contest, and from 32 countries: Turkey, Romania, Moldova, France, Canada, Mexico, Italy, India, Saudi Arabia, Georgia, Uzbekistan, Belarus, Tajikistan, Tunis, Armenia, Israel, Serbia, Syria, and other countries. So it has been very international, and the board of the contest selected the Russian to be its primarily language, and these results of the contest were announced in Perm in December under the 9th Forum of the National Unity. So today the people's diplomacy gains another importance and becomes the platform for trustful dialogue between the citizens of our countries. The People's Chamber of Russian Federation uses actively the public activity to deliver to the global community the positions of Russia in terms of global development, future of the humankind with respect to security, freedoms and rights, also provision of equal opportunities for all, strengthening of well-being, living standards, and achieving sustainable development goals. By uniting our efforts, we believe that we could coordinate and develop the multifaceted dialogue between Russia and Uzbekistan in the areas of culture, public institutions, in terms of bilateral and multilateral relations. Here, I would like to briefly represent the key areas of our People's Chamber activity. The People's Chamber develops the international cooperation. We signed 25 memorandums of understanding on cooperation with similar SCO institutions in other countries. One of the key areas of our activity today is the activity under the International Association of Economic and Social Councils and similar institutions, which unites organizational SCO capacities of 72 countries. Today, the People's Chamber of the Russian Federation is the chair of the organization, and together with other countries and members of the organization, we actively implement the agenda through the life new challenges and solutions. Within the agenda, we organize some specific events, roundtables, conferences with the vast participation of Russian and foreign experts, also at such high-ranking platforms as SCO. In November this year, we plan, after the meeting of the General Assembly, to hold the international conference in Moscow under our chairmanship. And taking this opportunity, we would like to invite our partners from Uzbekistan to take part in this event. Welcome. All this helps us to fully and cooperate on many serious issues of peace, security, human rights, and other values which are shared by the People's Chamber of the Russian Federation. Several SCOs are included into our organization, and in April 2020, that was a resolution adopted by the President of Uzbekistan on creation of the People's Chamber, and also for achieving sustainable development goals. So, therefore, we expect very much and look forward that the partnership institute like the Common Chamber will appear also in Uzbekistan to be invited into the composition of our international association of common chambers. Another aspect which we offer to our friends is under the auspices of the public chamber, we created the institutions of public institution aimed at transparency of the elections. Starting since 2021, the chamber started to employ its activities in other countries, in Abkhazia, Nepal, Kenya, Congo, Senegal, Serbia, Tunisia, and Southern Ossetia. 2 weeks ago, the public chamber organized a presentation for the representatives of foreign diplomatic corps in Moscow, with a special presentation on observation during elections. And that time we collected results of all the observations, and this report can be found on our website. Also, we would like to delegate a mission to participate in the constitution referendum in Uzbekistan. Unfortunately, we faced certain logistic difficulties. We believe that public diplomacy is one of the key areas for promoting international interactions, which we need to strengthen, not just at the level of the public authority, but also the presidents of two countries, by their own examples, demonstrate the broad nature of public relationships and strengthen mutual cooperation of our brotherhood countries. It's also important to develop horizontal linkages at the level of civil society to support cultural exchange, also to share the best practices, strengthen festivals, and promote cooperation in the humanitarian sphere. So we are ready to consolidate our activities, and we would wish to develop it all over the world with the colleagues from various organizations and develop the specialized platforms for open discussion and engagement of youth and other civil society organizations. We are very happy that our Uzbek partners receive our invitations very actively. Last year, they participated actually in the event organized in Kazan city, and their visit was organized under the Shanghai cooperation organization, and we visited Samarkand last year, and we have very warm memories of that visit. Dear colleagues, in the end, I would like to emphasize that the public chamber of Russian Federation is aimed at further strengthening of cooperation between Russia and Uzbekistan under their auspices of public institutions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Actually, we're done with the opening speeches. Now we will move to the main speeches from the speakers. And since we're working in the format of a round table, we will have some time limit for each and every person. And please be short and simple and speak about the main topics, main mission, main problems. And please be short. We have only 3 minutes for each of the speaker, and at 6 sharp we should leave the hall. We have very limited time frame, so please take into account and be short. So now I would like to give the floor to the manager, to the media manager, to Miss Natalia Zabolotsky, who is coordinator of international competition called Leader of People's Diplomacy. Thank you very much. Since our project is very young, it's not even 1 year old, and it's a pleasure to hear that our project is part of such a high-level platform as INAPROM. And we have the opportunities for people, for leaders of people's diplomacy. It's a great opportunities for the leaders. And we cannot speak about the competition as much as we can speak about the competition. Leadership. The kids who have arrived to be part of the competition, they are uniting among each other, and they have one common goal, and they are implementing different honors projects, applied projects on Russian language, on peacemaking, and reaching tranquility and resoluting the disputes. People who have arrived to our round table, they became the ambassadors of our project about the opportunities that they provide. And the leaders of the national diplomacy, people's diplomacy, they are the pioneers of pioneer leaders for the future. And today we are having the participants who have become the winners, and the best example is when we can show the kids themselves. And here we have Mr. We have the head of the movement and his speech. So please join us, join our kids, visit our webpage and register.
Дорогие коллеги, позвольте следующее слово предоставить.
Let me give the floor to the next speaker, the doctor of philosophy, Mr. Davlatov Usaldat, Miss Davlatova Usaldat. Dear ladies and gentlemen,
bugungi davra suhbati ishtirokchilari, здравствуйте, дамы и господа.
dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Let me first of all express my gratitude for the given chance of giving a speech. The people's diplomacy within the current world order is one of the factors of international relations, and it incorporates the civic societies on the sister cities, on the level of sister cities, different campaigns and etc., NGOs, interregional and inter-religious cooperation is very important part of the policy of our countries. Now we have more than 130 different nations and minorities living in our countries, and all of them definitely do the input into the economy and the policy of our country, as well as to the civic society of our country. The Committee of International Cooperation under the Cabinet of Ministers of Uzbekistan, adopted by the decree of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. It was created in 2017, and the tasks of the committees first is to implement the policy for international peacemaking, improving the friendship atmosphere, and implement the national values and the feeling that we are all a big family. There are many people and minorities living here. We have 16 different religious, 38 different unions with different foreign countries. We use actively the mechanism of people's diplomacy, and we provide inter-religious and international.
зарубежными странами.
We try to build the tough collaboration and cooperation between different nationals.
So they all make serious input in building up a strong civil society based on the rule of law. And thanks to the political will of the head of state, Mr. Mirziyoyev, we implement broad-scale reforms on building up friendship relationships with the neighboring countries. We open borders of Uzbekistan for the whole world, and after having established the open, friendly foreign policy, Uzbekistan has established absolutely new and healthy political and economic and cultural relationships with their near neighbors and far abroad countries. As a result of that, Uzbekistan has brought up not only spiritual but trade and economic relationships, developed various relations according to the resolution of the president in 2018. They created the Center of People's Diplomacy under Shanghai Cooperation Organization for Development of Multi-Religious Consent and International Dialogue under the auspices of SCO. Also, the president adopted in 2019 the concept for national policy of Uzbekistan in sphere of international relations is the basis for fundamental improvement of international relations and friendly ties with foreign countries to ensure coordination of various activities of public society and institutions of SCOs in the area of national relations. We established the Public Council under the Cabinet of Ministers for ensuring tolerance, mutual understanding, in the Republic of Karakal, Pakistan, Tashkent city, and other cities. Therefore, we created the holistic system of the public control over the activity of public authorities and their accountability. According to the presidential decree in Karakal, Pakistan, they opened the House of Friendship, where they provide where they opened national cultural centers. In 2020, under the multinational program, the leaders of national cultural centers and 16 religious confessions, they built up. They launched actually the Park of Tolerance in Tashkent city, and then we are going to further develop and strengthen bilateral, multilateral relations with other countries based on people's diplomacy. For that, we have more than 40 memorandums of understanding signed with various strategic organizations abroad, and our Committee and Center for People's Diplomacy under SCO is working on the strengthening of mutual trust and good neighborhood of interconfessional, interreligious consent, and develop various cooperation and programs in the area of education and research. The SCO plays specific role in providing peace and stability, and we have more than 50 proposals already generated for regional and international activities, including Uzbekistan. Dear participants, taking this opportunity, once again, I would like to express my appreciation to the organizers and wish you all successes in holding this round table. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Ms. Saudat. And as of today, we see that non-commercial, non-governmental organizations, they are the basis for people's diplomacy all over the world, and within certain regional unions and within also some multinational organizations, their voice is heard more and more, and their importance is growing up. And now I would like to give the floor the chairman of Kengash of Public Non-Governmental Organizations of Uzbekistan, Mr. Ihom Hadraev Kamalidin, please. Once again, please be reminded we have very limited time, so we have only 2-3 minutes per speech. Thank you in advance. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I was very much surprised to hear that I have a presentation today. I didn't know what to say. However, I always know what to say because the topic is people's diplomacy, and many times I repeated that people's diplomacy is something that can be discussed so long time, but very easy thing, because people should first approach each other, establish friendship, start contacting, and then the second phase starts, official diplomacy. Therefore, the people's diplomacy is something when two nations want to communicate, discuss, and be friends without any conditions. This is the most important. When the terms and conditions come out, it is not the diplomacy anymore. Therefore, we always say that we are happy to receive friends, guests, partners. We always welcome our foreign partners. And specifically, at the background of people's diplomacy, I represent the National Association of Uzbekistan. And I would like to make a proposal. If you, I represent Association of Non-Governmental Organizations, and we wish to establish formal contacts. We could sign memorandums of understanding, and this could include the following. First, we would like to learn experience of Russian Federation in this area. Second, we would like to create certain research capacity which exists in Russia and apply it here, because we also have some experience. And of course, We started just recently, and we have the chair under the National University of Uzbekistan, the chair of sociology, and they study various civil society institutions. I invite you briefly, what would you like to say? Yes, our time is very much limited. Therefore, I wasn't going to deliver the formal speech actually, but I'm very happy to be here, to be invited, and we look forward to having long-standing friendly relations and assembly of the People's Diplomacy and Association of the Nations of Russia, and all the participants and those who are engaged in organizing this event today. And you know, on 30th of April, we have the national referendum on Constitution in new edition. New edition of the Constitution of Uzbekistan. Sorry, I was translating this from Uzbek. So, we are very happy that our Russian partners came here very timely, and we've been working very actively 1.5 years, including Russia, and our experts visited Russia and they visited us, and they recommended certain improvements in our election process, and they also gave us some clues on how to improve our some moments, and they shared their lessons learned from the constitution reform. And our national association been working with their partners from the association. And our association actually currently unites 1.5 thousand NGOs of Uzbekistan. Also, we have international, national, and local NGOs. They are non-governmental organizations, and we provide support to them in their development. And currently, we train them under the Academy of the State Management of the President of Uzbekistan. We started training for 75 representatives, managers of NGOs from Uzbekistan. And primarily, they will be taught in skills on how to keep up dialogue. Sorry, your time is out. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay.
Definitely, you are doing a lot of work in improving the economy, and this is the experience that we should get from you. Thank you very much. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, let me give the floor to the head of the Russian movement, Russian Cultural Center. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. First of all, let me greet all of you on behalf of the Russian Cultural Center. And we have representatives of other cultural centers today with us. We have the representatives of Kazakh Center and centers and other. It is too short to speak anything, to explain anything in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But I have a little suggestion. First of all, what is Russian Cultural Center? The Russian Cultural Center is 23 different branches that were created in different parts of our country, of Uzbekistan. We are doing a lot of work. We conduct around 1,000 different events, enlightening events. All of them are devoted to the international collaboration, trust, and peace. We have in all the cities we have created the peace houses, and they don't only provide us with the spaces or premises, but they also provide people have given us some furniture, some support, and we have opened our Russian cultural units or centers in different cities. Right now we feel different support of our ministries, of agencies, and we participate in different events. And speaking about people's diplomacy, we participate in different state events, but at the same time we also create social events, and by our events we support the policy of cooperation between countries. For example, let's speak about Navruz, when Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, our president, he sang the song that he was the author, co-authored about the friendship of Russia and Uzbekistan. Russia and Uzbekistan, they are friends, they were friends, and they will be friends for ages and for centuries. And this is people's diplomacy. The head of the country could solely and precisely say about the relationship to Russia. We always promote the studying English, studying Russian. I'm sorry, studying Russian, and we also conduct a lot of events related to Russian language, Russian culture, and we have received the offer recently from the government that all the kids who are members of the Russian Cultural Center can get their bachelor degree on a non-tuition fee basis. It means that they can go to Russia, they study, and they will come back. It doesn't mean that they will relocate to Russia. No, they will be representatives of Russia in Uzbekistan after coming back. And they will be representatives of Uzbekistan when they're studying in Russia. So we should create a separate meeting. And I bet it will be very mutually beneficial and useful. Today we had Tumen Institute. We had also we are planning to have a meeting with Kazan University at 7 p.m. Last year, Miss Svetlana Konstantinovna has got the award for improving the ties between Russia and Uzbekistan. I am very sorry. We have very strict timeline. Next year, even though we have a year, we will be celebrating 30 years of our center. We have celebrated 25th anniversary of our center. The president has provided his support to us. For 7 days in a row we had events, we were celebrating in a large scale, and I hope that next year in 2024 in April we will have a 30th anniversary of our center. We will have our partners, different people of Eurasia will be visiting our center, and I invite each and every one of you to participate on this event. Thank you very much. Last time we had more than 50 representatives of the state agencies. Let's continue our conversation in the fields.
Indeed, we see serious support provided in Uzbekistan to the people's diplomacy.
Государственном уровне, и я хотел сейчас передать.
So now I would like to give the floor to the member of the Committee on the Information Policy, Information Technologies of the Legislative Chamber of the Parliament of Uzbekistan, member of the Assembly of the Eurasian Nations, Ms. Gulbahor Sanabidinovna, we appreciate if you manage it within the time given. Thank you for giving the opportunity to deliver my speech. I welcome our guests, all participants of today's event. Uzbekistan, of course, has political, interparliamentary relationships with all the countries of the world, of course, in the majority of Eurasian countries. But we cannot separate economic life of people from humanitarian life. As we all know, under the General Assembly of Eurasian Nations, many different councils exist, including the Literature Council, headed by Ms. Margarita Yuhamedova. I personally met her, and the activity of the General Assembly of the Eurasian Nations back in 2019, and as a result, I participated in the Festival of Eurasian Assembly devoted to literature in Baku, in Azerbaijan, and I was a member. I became the member of the General Assembly of the Eurasian Nations. What I want to say, there are no strengths more powerful rather than literature in the world. It creates miracles, as always in the history. And during that festival, I found out, like, when people from different countries were united in their discussions of the global challenges. And last year in Russia, they celebrated the jubilee of Uzbek poet Nodira. And today, they also, Uzbek readers, they excite our translation of Marina Tsvetaeva, which I actually made. And we create the atmosphere of trust, and people of creative people, regardless of their religion and origin, they have the common language, the language of arts. And I would like to say briefly, and in the end, I would say that we are people of arts should make our input and contribution towards development of friendship and peace, stability, and trust between the peoples of the world. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish good luck in your work. Thank you.
Директор Центра поддержки
Now we give the floor to the director of the Civil Initiatives, director of the Center of Civil Initiatives. He is absent. So now I would like to give the floor to Anvar Mahmudov, head of the association.
Добрый день, уважаемые участники круглого стола.
Good afternoon, Ms. Svetlana, participants of the panel session. We're very happy to greet you in sunny Tashkent, and thank you very much for giving opportunity to give a speech here. I have a 15-minute speech actually, and because it was shortened to 3 minutes, I will try to be very fast. I am from Foundation of Abu Ali Ibn Sina, and we are working in the fields of the pharmaceuticals and medicine. We're representatives of NGO, and the foundation has the cooperative agreements with 30 different countries, and we are improving the people's diplomacy. I will not touch upon several slides. I wanted to show the video, but I can show it to you later because of the strict timeline. So, on the motherland of Abu Ali Ibn Sina in Bukhara, we create international platform on modern medicine, traditional medicine, and cultural medicine. And we do different conferences and roundtables when we have the international participants, and actually I should admit that one of the most active participants are the researchers from Russia. And here you can see that the people's diplomacy actually starts from actually arrival. You can see that in Afshona district of Bukhara, we meet our participants, we take them to the birthplace of Ali Abu Ibn Sina, and we take them to the conference. Our conferences are very interesting because they are always filled with the warmth and peace, and people's diplomacy is actually in our blood. We are always very happy to see each other, and here you can see the awarding the certificates, awarding with the status of a professor of different people from India, Israel, Russia, and etc. We had a representative of Russia from Novosibirsk who has got the status of the honored professor, and every year on the birthday of Abu Ali ibn Sina, we provide awards to different members of our community. Last year, on the platform of SCO, we have signed the memorandum about on cooperation with people from Central Asia, and since that time we have different online events of the assembly, and this is the assembly of Central Asian people, and we also will have very soon the summit, the international conference on pharmaceuticals that will held after several months, and already we agreed that our Russian members will be participating on the event. Here you can see Ms. Nesterova. Here we signed the memorandum memorandum with her, and also we have many more other memorandums signed with the center. This is 1 minute long video. How shall I turn it on? How to make it? How to make it play? Okay, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. In October of this year, we will have 12 readings of Ali Abu Ibn Sina's input into the medicine, and then we will have the next conference on Ali Abu Ibn Sina and the civilization. And definitely, Ms. Nesterova, we will send you the invitation. We always have the readings, and we always try to elaborate on having the roundtable during these readings. I was listening to all your speeches, and I actually have the offer. I would like to offer you the cooperation in Moscow and Petersburg library. The manuscripts of Abu Ali ibn Sina are being stored. This is what we know. And I would like to build a connection with you so we can translate all these manuscripts. And based on the civil foundation of Ali Abu Ibn Sina, we would like to translate all the manuscripts. So that would be the first. And the second one, we would like to organize the first Uzbek-Russian Scientific Cultural Forum called Abu Ali Ibn Sina, East and West. And also one more offer and suggestion. Attracting more and more Russian investments into the modern medicine and traditional medicine, and basically saying, I'm done. Thank you very much. So, what kind of people's diplomacy can we have if we don't have the proper platform. So taking into account, taking the possibility, I would like to award Ms. Nestorova with the award of being part of international people's diplomacy member. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. One more time.
Mr. Turakhanov, are you here in the room? No. You know, quite frequently we hear that the word was in the very beginning. They say this in any language. Now I would like to give the floor to main experts of their Union of Translations of Uzbekistan.
Опять, член Союза писателей может говорить долго, но, к сожалению...
Is the member of the Union of Writers and the head of their organization of artistic translations. Thank you, dear guests, dear friends. I would like to discuss about I'll be very brief. We celebrated 110 years of Uzbek drummer, writer of named Nasir. And in Kemerovo region that time, we organized several literature events on the eve of this anniversary. And as he died in 1944 in Kemerovo in Stalin prison, Stalin's prison, and then so when we discuss about development and setting up the monument to Nasir was postponed, and they promised that this year the monument will be created. And a few days ago, on 30th of March in Navoyi, we organized a very big little literature festival on classic poetry, where various literature organizations participated, including from Tatarstan and Bashkortostan regions of Russia. And we agreed several interesting literature projects with Tatarstan and Bashkortostan at that meeting, and this year we are planning to implement some of them. We have already started to exchange fiction translations, our writers and Russian writers, and last year the first stage of this project was passed and we presented some results already, and in May on May 3, we are going to go to phase 2. This will be the collection of Uzbek poetry in 3 volumes. Meanwhile, we published the second volume in Moscow, translated into Russian. That was the joint work of Russian and Uzbek translators and poets. And around 200 Uzbek poets from before Alisher Navai, starting from 12th century up to the end of 20th century. So the volume 3 will include the modern poetry. That was a very interesting project. Also, I would like to say that in the end of May, we are going to organize the forum Spring in Durman. This is the place under Tashkent. It's going to be an international festival where we invite Russian writers from different CIS countries and from Russia. Why do we need it? Because our projects like this, they are more like about fiction translation, and the literature cannot develop by itself without translation, without exchange, and exchange of the best literature tendencies and traditions, and all this can be provided only through the translation of their famous literature masterpieces. We have another project which we accomplished 2 years ago, but still in the CIS countries they continue writing about it. These the best Russian literature pieces were translated into Uzbek language. That was the tremendous project. We translated more than 150 various literature pieces, and more than 100 translators were involved. That project was very unique, and nowhere else in the CIS countries they attempted to do it. However, in Russia, they published that in Kazakhstan, but in Russian. But we translated this into Uzbek language, and in Moscow we presented. It was the Assembly of Readers in Moscow where we presented our project, and we presented 100-volume collection of Russian literature pieces translated into Uzbek language. I was very happy for Uzbek translators, and we hope to continue this work. And we are going to publish the 3rd volume of Uzbek poetry translated into Russian. And then we will also translate the modern prose of Uzbek writers into Russian. And we have started to translate modern Russian writers who are who are very active today on the market and have bestsellers. So we are trying to establish good contacts and the best contacts we have with the Union of Writers of Russia. Thank you very much, and we'll continue our activity. Thank you very much for your efforts.
Дорогие друзья, я думаю, что
Dear friends, I think that definitely our cooperation is very important and has its own place to be if there is a future. So I would like to give the floor to the winner of international competition called Leader of People's Diplomacy, Fazlidin Jamalov. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a big pleasure for me to be part of this conference. And I know that we have strict timeline, but as a leader of people's diplomacy, I was taught to have an elevation speech within 1 minute, and as a result of this competition, we could, together with the participants of 18 different regions of Russia, as well as foreign participants, to participate in some joint projects. And recently, within the framework of online festival of the music performances, Murti-Show, which is the holiday of dances in Moldova, we had the festival, and we were part of this festival, and the students of World Economy and Diplomacy University from Tashkent, they participated in that festival, and we, Uzbekistan, took the first place. Also, I would like to say that as a result of this project, we have opened the youth hub for scholars. It was in Tashkent, and this is the first hub for youth in the capital city of a country, and the University of World Economy and Diplomacy is serving, giving its premises, and it's done in collaboration with the Tashkent branch of Moscow State University of International Relations. And our colleague from Nizhny Novgorod has also joined here. I would like to greet her here. Today we have identified the joint vectors, and in August in Nizhny Novgorod there will be a big forum of New Eurasia, and Miss Svetlana will be curating this. And we hope to conduct the model SCO over there, joint model of SCO, and we will be more than happy to be partners for this organization and event. Also here we have the youth, and I hope that we will participate as a full-fledged team, and we are not only the leaders or the altruists who think only about their countries, but we also think about the cooperation between our countries. Thank you very much. I hope that National SCO Center will support your initiative. The initiator and the organizer of today's our roundtable was the Common Russian Organization of the Peoples of Eurasia, and this is being conducted by the support of the Presidential Academy, presidential funds, and the Organization of International and Interregional Cooperation of Eurasian people of Eurasia. And here we would like to finish our event, and on this platform I would like to give the final floor, the floor for the final word to the head of the Common Russian Association, Miss Svetlana. Thank you very much. I would like to say actually that we're not finishing our work. We're just completing this session on the platform of Innaprom, but then we will go to Mir Lux Plaza Hotel, where we will continue our talks, and whoever could not finish their speeches will be able to continue in the hotel. We are more than happy to hear about your projects that we can implement together. Thank you very much for all the speakers who could participate, give a speech today, and a special thanks for our moderators. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the hosts of the platform, and to the head of the program direction. Let's move to a